kind of want to,
Yeah.
they don't fix the OCEs.
No, it's great.
Because now it gets to go.
There's a long laying now.
Okay, let's call this meeting to order.
That's when you lay down. Printing.
Let's call this meeting to order. This is the work session, so this is our informal time. We'll dispense the Pledge of Allegiance and all that, just have a work session. I want to talk first about Wolf Creek a little bit, and we're here to discuss not necessarily the merits of the Wolf Creek, but the process that we're going to go through. And I thought it occurred to me, I want to step back just a moment and say that the commissioners enter a little bit of a different role in annexation hearings and ditch petition hearings. And a normal decision that the commissioners make, say if we're going to buy a sheriff cruiser, we see how much money we've got, we see what the need is, and it's kind of our decision whether we do that or not, and that's not, the public may like it or they may not, they could vote us out, but it's not appealable. In a annexation and a ditch petition, we actually become a court, and it is directly appealable to the common pleas court if our decision is not according to law. So in these type of decisions, we take the facts, we apply them to the law, and we render a decision based on that. Whereas the other way, we use our judgment, our preferences, and so on. And it is directly appealable within 21 days to the common pleas court. So I just want to throw that out there. What I thought we would do next Tuesday is we'd do the preliminary stuff, roll call and all that. I give a bit of history, and then I turn it over to Mark and Soil and Water to give, well, I guess it's your report, and you may call on them to give some details of it. But calling you to do the written and oral report, I assume you have some sort of an oral report. And then we'll have public comment, although our decision will still be based on the facts and the law. And then we'll vote either to affirm the decision of granting the petition, which we did already, or to set aside the granting the petition, which we did already. And we probably should have both of those petitions ready, or both of those motions ready, so whatever is the proper thing to do, we could just do it at that time. Okay, Mark, what do you have to?
Well, according to Ohio Revised Code, this is the day to submit plan specifications and projected assessments for the board. I guess if I can stand, and maybe that way everyone can see and hear, and I'm not talking to your backs. I first want to thank the Soil and Water Conservation District for a great deal of work and effort that went into preparing the actual plans. The work that was required to physically walk, canoe, whatever it took to portage the entire length of Wolf Creek was a fantastic undertaking. And I think they did an exemplary job in developing the plans and specifications, or the plan phase of it. So first, officially, I'd like to thank the Soil and Water Conservation District for doing that. We did it under contract with them through the County Commissioner's office, through the petition process. We contracted with Soil and Water to do that. There is absolutely no way that my office could have done that. We would have had to hire an outside engineering firm to do that work. And I can guarantee you that the cost of doing that was a fraction of what it would have been had we had to hire an engineering firm. So first, thanks for that. To that end, the first thing I'd like to do, and this is the report that will be officially on record next week, but I wanted to go through this with you today to let you know where we are, and that way maybe you could, I guess we're in a public meeting, so you could answer questions, and I don't know, debate-wise, maybe isn't the appropriate time because this isn't the hearing, but just to let everybody, you do what you want, but we shouldn't debate it just because it's not the actual hearing. So,
yeah, and I think people should hear the debate.
Right,
so
exactly. So questions, yes, but not questions to each other. But like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but I just want to make sure that we don't, that everybody understands that. So to that end, this is my report to the Senate County Commissioners, and I'll just hit some highlights on here. That way, everybody can understand where we are with it. So the subject is the petition for drainage works for the west branch of Wolf Creek. The object is to remove obstructions from the main channel of the west branch of Wolf Creek, beginning at the Seneca-Hancock line near Alveda and continuing to the Seneca-Sandusky line near Bettsville. We did modify that. I left that in there because that was the original. We did shorten the scope or the actual work length up to just below Hammer Heinzman subdivision. in Fostoria because there's really not a lot of channel work that needs to be done past there. Although, everything we need to do would be north of that area. So even though everybody is included, is that me?
Thank you.
I'm thinking, whose phone's going off?
He was looking at the python.
Who would have a ringtone like that?
An engineer.
Seriously, yes, that's the basic one that came with the machine, so I don't even know how to change it. I have no illusions, I don't. Sorry about that. So to that end, the report recommendation is that the Senate County Engineer submits this report to the Senate County Commissioners to either affirm or to set aside the prior order to grant the prayer petition for the ditch petition and instruct the engineer to proceed in accordance with ditch petition law. There's a background on where we have been as far as the petition having been filed by landowners, the viewing which was held for the commissioners to physically view the petition. It has always been part of ditch law and very important that, especially when you are dealing with issues of this magnitude, that the commissioners physically view, similar to an annexation or to a vacation, an alteration to a street or road or an alley, is that there's always a viewing, and that viewing is so that you can physically put eyes to what you are going to be voting on. You can see what the issues are and what the problems are. That viewing was held. We had our preliminary hearing. At that preliminary hearing, we gave estimates, ballparks on what we thought it would take to do the project, define merits, whether or not, in my opinion, and I say that because the law specifically states that the county engineer will do the assessment of benefit and cost. And if there are a series of things that if it's in the interest of the common good, if the benefits outweigh the costs, or a series of these things, if they happen, then the commissioners are by no means bound, but they are somewhat obligated, to move on to the next level, to say that yes, these things are important. They have been identified as following the law, or following the parts of the law that make it go to the next step. That next step after the preliminary hearing was that the county commissioners physically ordered, and I use that word ordered because that is the word that is in the law, not because there is an adversary relationship, because there's not. It is physically, in the law it says the county commissioner shall order the county engineer to proceed with plans and specifications. That order was given, and we proceeded with plans and specifications, and through the period of time of storms and high water and inaccessible ditches, which was a large portion of why the project was not completed when I had originally estimated. We have never done a project of this magnitude, not in my lifetime, in Seneca County. Not me, not Soil and Water, anybody. This is new territory for us. Underestimated the time it would take to do the project, but here we are. Besides that, we extended that time, and next Tuesday will actually be the final hearing. So that's kind of the background on where we are with it. The proposed work to remove existing log jams from the main channel, remove sand and sediment bars that are affecting the normal flow of the channel, remove dead and hanging trees that are imminent threats to the main channel. We had on here the removal of mill dams, although that will not be a cost associated to the group because there is a dam on Wolf Creek, but that dam is being taken care of and being paid for by the ODNR. Is that correct? Through DNR. Soil and Water helped get that process established and get work through that. So that is a cost that comes off the top of something that probably would have had to be done under the assessments. And then the establishment of access points for maintenance. There are a lot of maintenance projects or ditch petitions that actually channelize streams, so that we need corridors along the entire maintenance area of the stream so that we can maintain that. This is not a channelizing project. We are not proposing to channelize. We are not proposing to straighten, to take oxbows out of the channel, to build up banks, to put riprap for erosion control. This is strictly a flood control measure, and that's important to understand because that's the way my assessments were established in terms of the engineer establishing the assessment method. I did that based on flood control and based on the benefits for flooding. So establishments of access points will need to be realized, but by no means are we going to channelize or try to channelize the ditch to get to it. So anyhow, the work limits which we had talked about, basically from Hammer Heinzman subdivision to county line, and then steps taken to date, the petition filed May 1st of 2012, which being that honestly we are about 18 months from the petition filing. There are times, and I know from history, and I know another group that we are working on in other counties, is there are a lot of times these projects take years and years and years just to get to where we are. So 18 months is actually a extremely fast track for this project. I mean, lightning speed for the way government works with petition projects. It really is. The determination of the affected landowners in terms of developing the watershed, notice regarding the viewing and hearing which were sent, the viewing held, preliminary report filed, and the prayer granted. They call it a prayer because it is a prayer of petition by law. It is literally a time from the old country when you would go to your leaders and you would pray to them to fix your problem, because you can get no benefit or you can realize no relief from your problem anywhere else. And so it is literally a prayer to, that doesn't make you guys gods. On any level, don't get me wrong here, but it is a prayer of petition. Well, that's important to understand. It's a prayer. It's a prayer in the basic sense of what a prayer is. The ditch inventory was completed, and I say also under nearly completed because it is an ongoing process. Parcel list and map has been updated based on the most current parcel information that we have to date. Establishment of the preliminary assessment schedule, and I say that because we did the preliminary estimates, evaluation of the inventory, which we worked with Soil and Water Conservation, establish cost estimates for each project location, and prepare the final assessment schedule, which I call it a final assessment schedule, but there is no final assessment schedule until the project is done. We do not know, because log jams, leaning trees are a moving target, literally, that as we get a big storm, the log jams that were inventoried on one person's property 4, 5, 6 months ago might not be there anymore. They may not be there at all. They may be gone downstream to somebody else's property. They may have accumulated 2 or 3 small ones into a large one. They may have broken free, literally, and gone all the way to Sandusky River, in which case they're up in the bay and basically somebody else's issue to deal with right now. Sandbars, they move. They move as streams flow, as channel velocities change, as channel shapes change, which happens every major storm. We've had several since the inventory. These sandbars may not be in the same location they were. Leaning trees. The leaning trees that were inventoried, we've had 2 major storm events since that time, and they have either blown into the ditch and are now part of a log jam, or they leaning trees or trees that were perfectly healthy, especially ash trees, which go very quickly, may not have been identified, but now they are an issue. These things can be dealt with through the petition process because they are part of the original scope. We could not, for instance, say, well, I think it's important that we do some channelizing here and we straighten this to improve the flow of water. That was not part of the original scope. So in order to do that, that would require a change in the petition, which means we basically go back to step 1. So nobody's proposing that, but if a landowner proposes that and the commissioners were to say, yeah, let's take a look at that, well, if just saying take a look at that means we go back to step 1, and because that changes the entire process. So anyhow, this report places the final engineer's report before the commissioners as the hearing to affirm or deny the petition, and the words There are actual specific words for that, but as required by Section 6131.10 of the Ohio Revised Code. Environmental impacts. The Corps of Engineers, Ohio EPA, ODNR have been made aware of the project. The concerns are of significant impact are to wetlands, fish, and aquatic wildlife, non-point pollution prevention, assessments of permits and regulatory requirements with regard to any minor, and when I say minor, because when you remove a sandbar, you are basically changing we don't know where the exact was. So some sandbars may require Corps permitting, some may not. We're, like I said, not proposing channelizing, but it depends on if the Corps decides that's channelizing, not if I decide it's channelizing. So with that, the strategic plan, the implementation of the plan is recommended to be addressed in a 3 to 5 year systematic approach. I do not think that the scale and scope of this project is something that we should just rush out and do. Just hire contractors and go clear. We need to start systematically at the top end and work our way down and assess where we are through the process. Small log jams and tree removals will be addressed first, with larger, more significant jams being done from the top end. Always starting at the top end of the project, and that should say bottom end. North end, as far as ditches go. So we'll start at the bottom end of the project. Sediment bars will be evaluated for effective channel flow. All sediment bars will not be removed. This will allow for both financial easing of the watershed landowners, as well as to allow for necessary permitting, which we aren't sure where we are with the permitting. That's something that, if it's affirmed, then we go to the Corps and say, here are our sites we need to look at, and that starts a whole nother process. Financial implications. The estimate for drainage works, including the cost of the preliminary engineer's report and final engineer's report, was $225,000, plus construction administration and maintenance estimates, which puts us close to $272,500. And that's all broken down with a little bit of contingency in there as well. Broke it down into basically 3 different portions. A leaning tree phase, where leaning trees, there's no point in doing a lot till the leaning trees are gone, because those are going to continue to cause problems until they are gone. At $59,500 for leaning trees. Log jam removals estimated at $112,000. Sediment bar removal estimated at, if I add that up, basically $82,600, but because we are looking at not performing work on all of the sandbars are totally a moving target. We're not going to remove a sandbar at the inside of a curve where we know that in 2 years there's going to be another sandbar there. It is not a good cost. It doesn't make good sense to spend somebody's money on futility. So $35,000 for work that is not going to be performed, but will be evaluated under maintenance. It was knocked off, so the total sediment bar phase at $47,600. That puts the project work total, which is $219,100, which is really close to that $225,000 estimate. Construction plans, construction administration at $35,000. Maintenance charged at, and I established the estimate at 10%. Stormwater probably would like more, but to keep costs down at the beginning, 10%. Establishment as a maintenance fund puts about $25,500 in the maintenance fund, and those are things that those funds then can be used for future problems. And then a little bit of contingency. I just figured 4% contingency on a project like this for things that were unforeseen. Each of these have a component of mobilization, so that a landowner has money or not a landowner, but a contractor for moving equipment in and out, developing these access areas that they need to get to these areas, and also damages, because depending upon when the phase of the project is, if we run over a farmer's cornfield, and take their corn out because we have to get to the project, then it is in our interest, I think, and everybody's interest to pay them for that corn. That's a standard that, so there is damages built into this project for unforeseen things like that as well. As far as the assessments go, I have established the assessments in what I call a 3-zone method. That method establishes assessments for flood control, as I had mentioned earlier. And that flood control is established at corridors of 500 feet away from the channel, 500 to 1,000 foot away from the channel. And then everybody else that is more than 1,000 feet away from the channel is in Zone C, which is the very large portion of project or of assessment landowners. They receive a very, very small benefit, but they do contribute, so they have assessments. And those assessments were set up at for lands that are within 500 feet at $25 per acre, lands that are within 1,000 feet between 500 and 1,000 at $15 an acre. And then all lands beyond that 1,000 feet were established at $3 an acre.
Regardless of buildings?
Regardless of buildings. I did not evaluate this like we do a lot of ditch maintenance projects where if you have tile coming in specifically, and if you have a building, and if you have a house lot, if we want to do that, that's fine, but of the over 7,000 parcels that would need to be reviewed and evaluated, I'll come back and talk to you my next term.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so
That's good.
I mean, it is not a reasonable thing, in my opinion. It certainly can be done. So the minimum assessment, according to Ohio Revised Code, is $10. So if we look at the assessment schedule, which is 171 pages, that it breaks down to all the landowners, every acreage per parcel, per zone. And so every landowner, we do have, and I had told Fred a wrong number, we do have one landowner that basically is pushing $6,700. They own hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres directly adjacent to the channel.
And they're one of the petitioners.
I think so. I think so. So there are some assessments. The bulk of assessments are $11, which is the $10 minimum plus 10% maintenance. So it'd be plus $1. So $11 per parcel. And as you look through this, most assessments are in the well under $100. Like I said, most all are at $11 because of the minimum. There are some at 1,000, and some at if you've got 129 acres adjacent to the stream, you're going to pay more. You get more benefit. So I submit this. I'm not going to go over this with everybody, but it does have the landowner, the parcels, the reference code that's on the map, the zone that they're in, the calculated acreages, the assessment values, the total assessment, maintenance cost, and the total assessment for that landowner. It's broken down per parcel and per landowner. So we have that that I will be submitting to record today. Leaning trees and logjam construction specifications. I'm not going to go over this with everybody. These are the specifications put together for logjam removal and for leaning trees. I have to say that I do not reinvent wheels when I don't have to. The bulk of this came from another project we are working on with the Blanchard River project. It is almost verbatim with some changes for our specific project. But they are proposing a leaning tree logjam removal project and already went through the entire process of developing specifications. Our log jams and leaning trees aren't any different from theirs. So as far as that goes, I'm just going to use their construction specifications. Went through that with soil and water, and I think we didn't have any major changes to what they were proposing. So. Of course, this will be a record today, so anybody that does want to, I only brought one copy of everything. We can certainly do more. We can do PDFs, put stuff on whatever you want. I can make all this PDFs, put it on the website if you want, or anything you guys want. Yeah. So
this will be available to the general public today or next Tuesday.
Well, I'm submitting this. It is in your office. It is a public record.
Now public record.
So
do you have a PDF file of that? So if we have people that request information that the staff can just PDF it to them?
Well, I could just give you the PDFs, you can put them on your website, and then you could just reference your website, and then you don't have to make hundreds and hundreds of copies.
Yeah, it'd be my recommendation that we
So,
get that on the website now, because I can assume that we're gonna have a lot of inquiries before the meeting next week, so that way the people can be prepared.
Sure.
They know what's up, so, yeah, Mark, if we could have that and get it on our website.
yeah, that's fine. I'll email those to you.
I could imagine
Do you want
as
me to
this
email
meeting ends,
Stacy or
Yep.
Nikki or?
the phone's gonna start
Email me.
ringing.
Okay.
Probably after the newspaper.
These are the construction plans, 68 pages of plans, and I mean, very detailed as to where the log jams, trees, and sandbars are. All the property owners, along with the locations and stationing of the stream, have been identified in these plans. So realistically, everybody should be able to find pretty easily where they are, based on here and here. Everything on this map should match everything in my assessment schedule. But there have been some changes. There are changes of landowners. There's changes of landowners this morning.
And people can look at that after the meeting.
Absolutely.
But that will be on PDF too?
Well, I don't know if that can be created on PDF. That's 68 pages of engineering plans. These are just monstrously huge things. You guys can scan them into a
You can
PDF.
scan them to create a PDF if you want, but it's,
But first, they're poor quality when you scan them.
right.
And these are engineering plans. If somebody wants to see engineering plans,
They need-
Let 'em
set them
look
here and
at
let them
it.
look
Yeah,
at them.
my suggestion, we have a couple,
So-
2, 3 copies of that out there at our meeting next Tuesday. So that I could envision, there's gonna be a lot of landowners gonna wanna look at their parcel, what's gonna be done. So
Hey,
that way, you don't have 20 people
That's fine if that's
hovering
what you
over
want.
one.
I guess that goes to my next point, is that because this process is fairly new to the and I know I'm talking for a long time, and I know you got issues that I talk, but I want you to have all the information. Yeah, get the hook and get me out of here. So I have been in contact with almost all landowners that are physically affected by the ditch. There are a total of 37, I think 37 physical landowners adjacent to the ditch. Those landowners range from having no work on their properties to having extensive work on their properties. And what I had proposed to them, and what I've been trying to keep you up to date with, is that everything we do with this project is going to cost a great deal of money for a multitude of reasons. First, we have to hire a contractor. We got to pay him prevailing wages. We got to pay damages. We have to pay, and everybody pays these things. And of course, the people that are receiving the best benefit are usually the people that have the issues on their properties. So if a landowner, for instance, if we mark with the Soil and Water Conservation marks the leaning trees that need to be removed, and if the landowner is willing to remove those trees themselves, go out and cut those trees down, drag them up on the bank, cut them for firewood, get your buddies, get your dad, get your mom, get your sister and brothers, whoever you want, grab those trees that we say need to come out, that the costs of doing that, we will take off their assessment. So, we're going to have to pay. Well, I would rather take costs off of a landowner that's willing to do work on their own properties than have to charge somebody that's 15 miles away to hire somebody to come in and do something that somebody doesn't even want them on their property necessarily. And to be honest with you, of those landowners, there have been very few that have said, well, if you come out and that have not said, if you come out and mark them, we'll get them out of there. And I am approaching the landowners with log jams in the same light. And I had contact with one particular landowner and said, in a perfect world, I could convince everybody that has a leaning tree and everybody has a log jam just to remove them, get them pulled up on the banks and out of the flood zone, and then this thing, we don't even need it. And that's where we should have been 30, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 16 years ago. The best time to remove a tree is when it dies. The second best time is now. Or right now. That's, it's like planting a tree. Best time 30 years ago. Second best time today. Okay? So I'm working with those landowners and working with them. So these are the assessments, but I would like to, give landowners credit. Yeah, I just go, you see my mom, she's worse. But that would be so mad.
If you have internet, you're in trouble.
Exactly. I mean, on Twitter or something. So.
Wow.
But, yeah, I
Your
know.
mother.
Well, she had to be the first day, you can't say this part.
I got a few questions
Yes.
regarding this. According to, and this is the biggest one for me, according to 6131.21, there are 8 factors that we need to consider at the final hearing, whether we grant this petition or not. The cost and location of construction, compensation for land and other property, benefits to public welfare, and so on. Would you say that all of those 8 factors have been considered in your final?
I would say they
report?
have, yes.
Okay, and I will ask you that question next
Okay,
Tuesday, and
yes.
you can answer that.
And they may not be specifically word for word identified
Right,
here,
right,
but
right.
all of those issues should
If they
have
have
been
been
taken care of. They have
considered-
been considered in the plans
And
specifications.
satisfactorily. Okay, the schedule of payments, according to 6131.23, says the estimated cost of the improvement does not exceed $500, then it'll be paid in 2 semi-annual payments, so people do it in their regular tax period. If it's more than 500, then the board may determine the number of installments that are to be paid, and we're supposed to do that at the final hearing. So we'll have to be prepared to say, if it's over 500, we're gonna give you whatever period of time
Yeah.
we decide to go.
And I guess that's where, in the report, as far as the assessments go, they're assessed on people's property taxes. So you get you can pay it once a year if you want, or you can split it up into 2, which is where the 2 comes from. If the project is being proposed, and I said 3 to 5 years, I think the project reasonably can be done in 3 years. With all the permitting, the more I have delved into it, but we might want to spread it over 5 years. That's completely a decision to the board. Is my recommendation is if we want to complete it in 3 years, that we establish it in 6 installments, so that it happens in the 6-year period, in the 3-year period. If you want it done in 5 years, and we just spread it out as long as you want the project to be spread out.
Okay.
The question comes is that at some point, though, because more than a third of the money, or more than a sixth of the money will need to be realized up front, is that at some point somebody's going to have to front the money.
The county's gonna
And-
have to front the cost, that's been tradition. But we've got to set, it seems like at the final hearing, how long, if it's under 25, they have to pay it in one lump.
Right.
If it's under 500, then they have 2, which is by law. If it's over 500, then we have to set the schedule, and you're recommending 6
3 years.
payments?
I'm recommending 3 years,
Okay.
which
Because
would
that's
be,
the life of the project, so
Right.
you're,
right.
so it'd be six payments.
So we ought to have a resolution to that effect ready to pass next Tuesday. So we're in compliance. I don't want Judge Kelby overruling this thing 21 days later because.
I've got a vested financial interest in this, I'm not hearing the case.
That's right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right.
You'll have to
Small
abstain.
investment, but, or investment, I guess.
So that's a second resolution we'll need to pass, assuming we go forward with it. I think that was all the questions I had. Then the bidding of this. Assuming we go forward with this, assuming we approve our decision and we decide to do this, then you'll have to produce bid specs, right?
That is
And
correct.
that will be done at a regular commissioners meeting where we let bids and all of
Yeah, that'll be just like any other contract that I send to you,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Yep, and, at that time, when we go, if it is affirmed, then we will work with Soil and Water to some of these larger areas, larger log jams, larger sediment bars that require special details. We're gonna go out and revisit them before we go to bid and make sure that these major things haven't changed.
Okay. I guess the other question that we were talking about this morning, you and I, the notification of people of their assessment.
Yes.
And how that needs to proceed. We need to get clarification from Derek as to
Right.
how to do that.
How to
Whether we can
do
do
that.
that regular mail, whether we can do it on the website, whether we can do that, whether we need to go through the,
Yeah,
I need to
but,
say it again, the special mail, certified.
The mailing, yeah. That turned out was
But this
quite
meeting is
quite
the final
expensive.
meeting?
This will be the final meeting next
Right.
Tuesday, correct?
So we're talking about a
Yeah.
mailing for next week
No, after that, to notify the landowners
of the
of
result?
what their
of
actual
the outcome.
assessments are gonna be.
I'm hopeful we can do that in regular mail or through a website,
Yeah.
but we'll have to confirm.
Yeah,
with
we'll
our
need, I mean, because
prosecutor.
it'll be on their tax bill, when they get their tax bill, we'll need an opinion from Derek. Do we have to send notification out to each of the landowners that's gonna have to pay an assessment? Do we have to tell them, or can that just come under
We don't.
tax bill.
We don't do that on regular ditch hearings, do we? We send it certified mail? We do, oh, Jason.
Because that's the law.
Yeah, you do. That's the
Oh,
law.
behind the door.
Yeah.
That was about $5,000 I heard to send.
Yeah.
Well, that was about $13,000.
Well, there is one caveat to that, is that in working with the city of Fostoria, is that the city of Fostoria collects a drainage fee from their residents. The first mailing we sent out went to every resident in Fostoria that was in the watershed, which is thousands of parcels. Fostoria is now one piece of land, like it is a great big farm. So that assessment would only go to the city engineer. So there are thousands less, I guess, not that that is, you know, a lot is still a lot, but thousands less is still thousands less, so. But, you know, I would agree that, you know, that's a legal issue for our lawyer to determine. I can read code all I want and say, no, that means that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean what I think.
Stacy, can we get an opinion on that?
He is out this week, so.
Yeah, I called him yesterday too, and he's gone this week, so.
Perhaps one of the
Assistant
I can try to
prosecutors.
call Rhonda.
underlings can, you know, maybe Rhonda can rule on that, or.
Okay, I'll call her.
Yeah, we don't wanna spend $10,000-$12,000 on mailing if we don't have.
Because it's really not, it'll go back to the landowners, they're gonna pay it. We aren't,
Right.
we'll front it, but
Even
it'll be them
if-
that pays it.
Yeah.
Even if you set aside your prior order, then we still have 15 some odd $1,000 worth of work that has been done from soil and water conservation. We have an equal, if not greater amount that has been done when you consider my time, which in the scope of the project, I am not charging county engineer time for this. It's part of what I think I should do for the residents, but I'm supposed to. If we set aside the project and nothing happens, then you have to look and say, is it fair to every other resident in Seneca County to spend all of my time and effort doing this project and not charge the people that are supposed to be charged for it? That's a decision that I guess I'll have to make if you set it aside. But assuming you don't, then I'm not going to charge my time. But anyhow, there are the mailings. Somebody's got to pay for those. It's not the general fund. I don't think you can just absorb that. It's not. That's
Well,
not
could
what
that
the
go
law
into
is.
the assessment?
Yeah, everybody would get an
Okay.
assessment. Everybody would, the way, but based on my assessment schedule, instead of putting in a number of $291,000, I'll put in an assessment of 40. I have no idea what the number is. $40,000, and it would get broken out, and everybody would, on their taxes, pay back the county for everything that's been done so far. So, you know, it's not that it doesn't get paid back. And honestly, a lot of that is part of the assessments anyhow, and I really, to be honest with you, didn't include those costs in here. I didn't even
Okay.
consider that.
Any other questions from the board before next Tuesday's meeting? We need to.
Just real quick, you mentioned zone C was over 1,000, so are the other ones, is it A, B, C, is that the order?
A, B, and C, that is
A, B, and
correct.
C.
A is closest, B,
Yeah.
and then C is
Okay.
the furthest,
And
yes.
then you said 37 landowners that are adjacent, is that all of the adjacent ones, or only the ones that had?
There's only the
dimensions?
ones that had
Okay.
an issue. I think there are a total of 70 some,
That's what I say, I thought it was the one,
yeah, but those are the ones that have work
okay,
scheduled on their properties.
okay.
What was it? It was $25 an acre. C was $11,
No, 25, 15, and 3,
25, 15. and 3.
minimum of $10, and that's established
Yeah,
by law.
yeah.
I mean, that's established by code. So,
So that's kind of the process for next Tuesday. He'll have a even longer explanation next Tuesday, and we'll have.
wow. Tia, thank you. Well, I know I talk a lot, but I want people to understand what,
Yeah.
I think it's very,
Follow it.
ditch law is, it is handed down to us basically from the old days of British law and English rule, and it is all based on one common thing that's called the common enemy doctrine. The common enemy doctrine is water for us. It is our greatest benefit, and it is our greatest enemy, all on the same day, which is why we have ditch law. There are people that will shoot their neighbor because they need the water to survive, and then there are people that want to shoot their neighbor because there's too much water coming. And it can happen from rain event to drought. So, you know, laws are there for us to use, and that process of 6131 is old.
And they're looking to revamp it.
Yeah, they are, and
So
I'm
there's
actually
task
serving
force
on the
now,
committee to
so-
do that, but because the law is old and it's antiquated, but it's what we've got. And that's the process we're working under. So, if there are questions, you know, for landowners, whomever, I mean, my phone is always open.
That was my question, because, you know, we're gonna get this on the website as quickly as possible. And then as inquiries come into the commissioner's office that we can't answer, who's the point person we should, do you have someone, because you can't take all the time to answer these questions.
Well,
or-
honestly, in my opinion, is that there really should be a limit to the discussion with landowners about merits of projects until
Hearings.
the final hearing. And if somebody has an issue and they can't make it to the final hearing, then put it in writing, and Nikki or Steve, somebody will read those letters, those emails, because the most important thing with a process like this is that it be transparent, that everybody's voice is heard, which is why this viewing and prior hearing and preliminary hearing and reports filed and assessment times and final hearings, to give people, let people vet this.
Yeah, I like that. They
So-
have to submit their questions
Yeah.
in writing.
And I think.
That way you can eliminate a lot of just,
Right, because the issue comes is that if a landowner calls you and you say, well, this is what I think, well,
I may not be right.
Yeah. The first thing is tell them to come to the final hearing.
Right.
Yeah.
Most of the answers will be at the final
Right.
hearing,
Yeah.
and that'll clear up a
Between
lot of
now and
things.
then.
And if you have any questions, bring them in writing.
well, they don't need to bring them in writing if they're coming. If they can't come, submit them in writing.
After the hearing, because it might be answered. So that's 10 o'clock next Tuesday at the Public Safety Building, and we'll decide during regular session what we're gonna do with our regular meeting, then we can take care of that later. I might just add for the paper, Brittany, you know this, I'm sure, but this was not initiated with the Commissioner's Office. We had a petition that asked us to do this, so it was not initiated here. Thank you very much, we
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Anything else you need, let me know, so.
All right, all right.
Great.
See you next
Mark.
Tuesday.
Did you guys have anything? I'm sitting here up here talking and stealing all your thunder.
No, that's fine.
You can have it.
We seen it.
During work
Even
session,
my
we
ear.
still had,
Yeah, even by air.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay.
we still had Brad Newman scheduled during work session, so even though we're a little past work session time.
See you, Mark.
Like, Are you in a hurry, Judge? You wanna?
Nope.
Okay,
I got all the time in the world.
great, all right.
Good answer.
Brad, you wanna?
I just had heard back from the FA on a project that we've had ongoing for about 8 years in the works. And they asked me if we could get a home appraised and some stuff sent up to them on the appraisal. So I just was gonna ask permission to, if we could get, and it's a reimbursable expense, even though it doesn't come across that way, but as soon as we get the project handled, the county gets reimbursed
Is
for
that
a.
the 95.5 or the?
Yeah.
Okay, is this in the clear free zone or is this outside?
was gonna scan
It
them.
still is in the clear free zone.
Right,
I
well,
told
it's on the 7 to 1, so,
I told somebody the other day I didn't think we had any more homes in the clear free zone, so I fibbed to them, I guess.
well, it could be obstacles, okay? And the only right way to handle it is you take the property.
So, you're asking to appraise the property at this point?
At this point.
Which is an expense to the county of approximately how much?
Oh, they were running somewhere, we have to have an appraiser that can defend it in court. So it's, I think they were $1,500.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1,000, 1,500.
Would be the worst scenario.
Which is reimbursed once we would purchase the property.
That is correct. Actually, they'd probably forefront the money so you could do the purchase. Okay, but I have to get it appraised and go from there. And then they'll probably want to do one on their own, the property owners too. So,
Is this a willing participant?
Mhm.
It wouldn't be a violent?
no,
Okay, all right, that's always helpful. Is this the last obstacle that's in the, is this not the, is this the last home?
We really have one more issue that we should deal with.
Okay, I think somebody else wanted to, you have anything else regarding that? Somebody else wanted to comment on that, I think. Did you don't want to comment on that? Okay, all right.
And I still don't have the open ditch issue straightened up, so
That's what I was wondering, where do we stand at with that?
terrible.
Pardon?
Not in good shape. So you got an open ditch laying there. The Army Corps of Engineers does not want me to close it up without hiring
Private.
Soil scientist.
a private soil scientist to do the study. Even though everybody from Soil and Water to the people that are doing the work say we're doing the right thing. And we've got an open ditch, which makes the county liable if somebody runs off the runway, which makes us both liable, and I'm not
Sure.
just running, I mean, I share responsibility too. And I got I really have 3 government agencies, and none of them are, one of them's telling Brad, you gotta get the ditch covered up, which is the FAA. And we have Soil and Water that, the Army Corps of Engineers, I'll take that back, is saying we need this delineation report. Of course, all the construction stopped, or destruction, whatever you wanna take, and everything is laying there, and we have, I really think, if you want my honest opinion, we need to have a sit-down meeting with, and I need to know exactly where the dividing line is on 224, if that's, we need to get Jim Jordan, Congressman Jordan involved. Because I can't deal with 3 government agencies pulling different ways in all.
Congressman's office is very helpful in things like that.
Is the dividing line exactly 224?
The dividing
Dividing
line
line
for
for-
what?
for
his
what?
jurisdiction?
Lada and.
Oh. Phew.
It used to be the north and
Yep,
south
No.
side.
Yep, Jordan has all of Seneca
Jordan
County.
has all of Seneca County.
Okay, all of it now,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
it
And I've got
got-
a map in there if we want to look at it, but yeah.
Brad, I think that's a good idea. I mean, I'll be glad to help facilitate that, to get the congressman, and we'll invite the 3 governments, with Soil and Water, with the Army Corps of Engineers, and who's the third?
Well,
FAA.
the FAA's is.
The FAA.
But they need it covered up. I mean, there's just no, and you can't have an open.
Well, yeah, but I would think that we would want them in this meeting, for them stating their case. You got Soil and Water, which is supportive of what FAA wants, and you got the Army Corps of Engineer that's pulling in another way. Then if we could have the congressman there to help unite.
Yeah, we just gotta get
Yeah.
we gotta get connected, because we are at a complete, we've provided data, we've provided the high level mark, we've provided maps, and she just keeps asking for more, and we just gotta, we're only talking 200 feet of tile. And we're doing the right thing for
FAA, yeah.
the FAA and our local Soil and Water.
In my experience, you don't even really need the congressman, you need his staff. If you talk to Dee Dee there at his
Yeah.
office, and she could probably just talk to the people involved and get it straightened out without even a meeting, but however you want to handle it.
Well, this is the first time we've had to go escalate to this level, and I've never done that before, so we need to get somebody involved, because we've got 3 different government agencies pulling different ways.
Why don't I stop out, Brad? We'll do a conference call to Congressman Jordan's office, to his aide, and get direction from them how to deal with it. And it maybe, as
That's a good idea.
Commissioner Wagner said, is that they can make a call to to the Ohio, or the Army Corps of Engineers. Let me go ahead, I'll get with you, and if that's all right with you, Commissioners.
Sure.
Set up a meeting, you and I would get together, we'll do a conference
And I
call.
think if they look at all the facts and all the drawings from the engineer's office, or Richland Engineering has and they don't understand, you're to stop, and everybody, and of course, we're probably to stop anyway because of the weather, but it's been going on since.
If the fact is, you got 2 government agencies that are in contradiction, and you're in the middle. So that's a good time. to get the
We're
feds
in
involved.
violation of the law on both sides, and you can't,
Yeah.
we need to have somebody in charge and do what's right.
I'll
Do
give
we
you a
want
call.
to, the board want to give him direction on that appraisal?
I would make a recommendation that we would go ahead and authorize the payment for the appraisal of the property, since it is reimbursable. It's a non-hostile seller, and we needed to keep FAA compliant.
Do we need to?
Well, if the money's there, I think you
We
should
don't have any
take
money in
it.
place for that, so we would have to
Okay.
move some money.
Okay.
We don't have any,
We don't have
yeah.
money in place.
So we'll have to, I'm in support of getting whatever we need drawn up so we can do that.
Okay, all right. I think those are the two keys, if it's reimbursable and if you have a willing participant.
Right.
Okay, we have to get the money in place first, so next week
Tuesday,
probably.
yep.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Anything else? Okay, all right, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks.
All right, we're gonna move into.
Brad, I'll give you a call.
We'll move into regular board session and begin with our pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call please. Not here.
Here.
Yes, here.
All right, instead of old new business, let's go right to Judge Kelby. You wanted to talk to us about something. I didn't think we could possibly do it by 10:15, but it's.
I had every
10:20.
confidence.
All right.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
I was gonna pay my share of the Wolf Creek, but he didn't tell me what the number was, so I didn't get a chance to.
Just give us your blank check.
What was the total, 272,000?
Trust me.
You will need to take a check. Well, today's the 150th anniversary of the Gettysburg Address.
You're not gonna recite it for us here, are you? Four score and how did it start
7
again?
years ago,
There you go.
our fathers brought upon this continent a great nation, conceived in liberty,
This
I'm
is
sorry?
our historian here.
so conceived in liberty, and committed to the proposition that all men are created equal. And that's it. But if you got that, you got everything.
Yep, that's right.
All right, well, I've had a situation for a number of years regarding my budget, and I've tried to work through informal, and it continues to be a problem in terms of special projects and general funding for my domestic relations. What I'm asking for essentially is what Abraham Lincoln asked for, and that's fairness. And I'll be more than happy to sit down with one of you. We used to have just one commissioner that kind of worked with the courts. Do we still have that?
We don't single
Okay.
one person.
Because I got a lot of
for this year.
numbers, or I can tell you that I have my budget with me today. I can give it to you, and I'll be more than happy to sit down with you later.
This is next year's budget. you're
That's
talking
correct. That's correct.
14.
Yeah.
Now, what has happened in the past, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the commissioners have given a number which has been kind of based on last year's number, the year before its number, and the judges have supplemented out of special projects fund.
And one judge is supplementing 30,000, 20,000 more than the other. So we need to address that issue, I think.
What's your suggestion to address that issue?
Make them the same.
If we, okay, if we give each judge.
And I would still supplement.
If we
I
give-
can get the numbers out now if you want, or else I can
That's
meet.
okay, we can give it, say, if we give each judge X number of dollars, and then they could each supplement.
Yeah,
Same
let's look at number, I'm sorry.
So you're saying in the past the
I like the
numbers
deal.
are different because of the supplement?
You know, I'm not sure why the number has been different over the years, but it really came to the front when the 3% was added to the budgets last year. And it was 3% of general fund money. And as a result, the amount of money that one floor received was significantly less than the other based upon one court contributing more special project money than the other. I'm here for myself, I'm not here on behalf of anybody else. So
Fair enough.
that's the short, down and dirty
No.
version. So I have that with me today. I'd like to chat before the end of the year, obviously. But I'm still looking at supplementing $29,485.36. But
Okay,
obviously,
Judge, just so I understand, of your budget that comes out of the general fund, you are supplementing roughly 30,000 of that more than what
I'm supplementing 20,000 more out of special projects than other courts. Let me just leave it at that. It's hard to do in a meeting that you guys can sit through. Like I said, I'll be more than happy to sit down. My
That's 134.
civil and criminal budget would be 4,000 less for next year than it is this year. But I'm looking at a substantial, well, 20,000 more, obviously,
Gonna assume we have the same employees.
for domestic relations.
I agree with you. I think this is something we're
Well,
gonna just sit down and.
yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, on
Yeah.
a
I just
one-to-one
want,
and.
I'm not gonna sign my name to a piece of paper without at least chatting with people
Right.
first. That's what I've always done, and that's why I'm here today.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you.
So if we can sit down sometime,
I'd be more than happy to.
okay.
Whenever
I got some
you-
time Thursday and Friday. My jury trial went out, thank God.
Could I sit in on that too?
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Just, or one of us, I just would like to understand. I've always
Okay.
been a little,
Well, I'm not sure how it started.
It was like in 2008 when,
I don't know how it started, but it should be addressed.
Okay.
because we had it equal for a while.
I don't know what happened, but I can't
I'll
have
pull
an
it out.
impact on the past, but I can't affect
Yep.
the future,
Okay.
so. Thank you for taking the time.
Is it in multiple line items that is different, or is it?
Yes.
One? Okay, okay.
I have a spread.
Yeah, yeah.
You're killing me. If you want the stuff, I'd give it to you today, but I think it'd probably be beneficial for
Sure.
one
Sure, talk to it with Mrs. Wilson. and-
what days are available?
Thursday and Friday.
I know Friday I'm at training, so you would have to be you.
Can't be before 5 a.m.
You get a ball.
Please.
Can we do it at, Stacy, are you available 9 o'clock Friday morning?
I can be available.
Okay.
It's
Friday.
your house or our house?
I'll come over.
Okay.
Well, do you have coffee?
We can make some. We can make some.
Okay.
We're not saying it's gonna be any good,
Oh,
because we
well,
don't
I'll
drink
bring my own.
coffee.
9 a.m.
She's
Friday.
got Mountain
Yeah.
Dew is what she drinks.
Yeah.
Right over there.
Okay, good. If you have any questions between now and then,
Okay.
give me a call. Thanks.
Yeah, how do I put this in my calendar?
Important meeting with Judge
Hand your phone to
Delton.
Nikki.
You got the new.
You don't even have to rely on an email address. Thank you.
Yep, yep.
Thank you, Judge.
Everything else is going good, except the number of jury trials is way up. Way up. That's why I asked for the.
Do you
money.
feel that the, that supplement appropriations that we've given, will suffice for the balance of the year?
Again, speaking only for myself, I believe that's absolutely true. I have a couple of big trials coming up, a 5-day trial coming up that I think is going to go.
Man, I hope I'm
But
not
you
on
never
that.
know. I mean, we've done 5 more jury trials already this year than all of last year, maybe 6, I can't.
5 as of November here.
So, we're up.
Thank you.
Something in the water. I think it's the Wolf Creek project. Water's backed up. It's
You can quote him on that if you want to. You know,
I've
that's,
still
fight it
got
out with
jury
him.
duty till the end of the year. I'm
That's
hoping I
right.
don't
We
get
may be
that
calling. Have you
5-day.
gotten another notice?
No, I haven't got another
Okay.
notice. I don't want that 5-day one.
Sure you do. All right. Anything else?
No, thank you for
See
coming
you
in.
Friday at
Thank
9 a.m.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, let's sign the journal, and is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Minutes are approved. Old business.
I have one item.
Oh, sorry. I don't think I have any.
Go ahead. Now I'm getting confused. Kathy, I forget Kathy's last name, but she stopped after, a day after I sent ODOT an email to ask where they were at with the awarding or whatever, not really awarding, but the study project
Yes.
for State Route 53 that the multi-counties, for all of us, said we've approved our money for. She said that project was awarded to them or given to them. I guess it wasn't a normal bid process, whatever it does with that. And looking at starting in January to get things rolling.
Okay, I have not had a chance, but I was informed by Todd Odette that he was gonna reconvene at least a member of each one of the counties. and
She
then
said she said that needs to happen here soon, is what she said. But she
Okay, I
said
was gonna put a call
DLZ, she
in
said
there.
DLZ is who got it.
Pardon?
She told me their firm, DLZ, got it.
Okay.
They're the ones doing it.
That's
Is that the little short girl?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
she
yeah,
stopped in
she's-
here on Thursday or something. I don't know
Okay,
what Wednesday,
okay.
I don't know what day it was.
Kathy Strain.
Yep, there we go. Yeah,
Yep,
they were last
yep.
Because I was curious where that was at. and
So do we
she-
contact Kathy now, or do we contact, because what they want to do is, from what I understand, they want to narrow the scope in.
Yep, and she said that there's somebody, she didn't, I contact Kathy. But she said,
Okay.
we're gonna get a meeting coordinated with representatives of all the counties. And I said, okay. I told her I'd make
Give
sure.
me your number.
I think I have one of her business cards. If not, I bet
It's in our,
these guys do.
it's our, in
Okay.
our contact list.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Anything else in old business? I had just a, Senate Bill 155, our ditch hearing bill, passed the Senate unanimously last Wednesday, so we'll see where it goes after that.
Oh, it's still gotta go.
So
yeah.
what-
Still gotta go-
we
gotta
don't
go-
have to go to the hearings?
It's gotta go through the House yet, gotta be signed by the governor. It's still a big maybe. You know, it's made it this far before.
Yes, it's
But that's a plus. It's through
Maybe
the
it's gonna
Senate.
set a record for the bill that's made it that far
That
most.
is the biggest waste
It
of
never
taxpayers' money.
succeeds.
The,
We have to travel all the way over for a meeting that lasts sometimes less than 2 minutes.
The other thing we ought to discuss a little bit here in old business is when do we want to have our regular board meeting next Tuesday, since we have the ditch hearing at 10? Do you want to go early in the morning? Do you want to go later in the afternoon? It doesn't matter to me.
See if I can get this here.
It doesn't look like there's anything else on,
We just don't want to be late for our ditch hearing.
Right.
That's the worst thing that happen is you,
Probably do it afterwards then.
okay. We can do
Out
it
there, just do it out there after, or
No, we come back here.
come back here?
like at 1 o'clock or something like that?
I got a law library at 4.
Okay. I'm sure, I don't think it'll take more than an hour and a half out there. Depends how long Mark talks.
Let's plan at 1 o'clock then.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, 1 o'clock next Tuesday, then will be our
Yeah, we'll change
regular
it.
session here.
Right.
at the commissioner's office.
Oh, that's what.
Okay, ready for new business then?
let's see, I have bill vouchers 134 and 135. I have a supplement to the permit appropriations for the Delinquent Care and Custody Grant Fund, 162, putting $10,000 into salaries, $145 into Medicare, $1,400 into PERS, for a total of $11,545. I have a supplement to the permitted appropriations for the Juvenile Dispute Resolution Fund, 108, putting $1,000 into salaries, $14.50 into Medicare, $140 into PERS, for a total $1,154.50. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the Community Housing Improvement Program, Fund 157, moving $2,345 from WSOS administration to the private rehab line. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Sewer Construction Fund, 224, moving $3,814.56 from the transfers out of the 139 County Sewer District Fund to the Sewer Construction Fund of the 224. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $4,000 from witness fees to supplies. This is a request of the clerk of courts. I have an appropriation adjustment within the maintenance and repair fund, 020, moving $15,000 from contract services to his contract projects line. Just typo. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the revolving loan fund, 094, putting $468 into other admin expenses. I have a supplement to the permit appropriation for the VOCA grant fund, 110, putting $90 into salaries, $514.63 into PERS, and $53.72 into her other PER line, for a total $658.35. I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $1,310.40 from Court of Appeals line to professional services, and $189.60 from vital statistics to professional services. This is We had a little additional expenses for our bond council fees because of doing the notes twice, basically twice this year. We did the one in June and we didn't have quite enough in line to get our bond council paid, so just moving that around. I have a resolution authorizing the sale of a county-owned property, a 1997 Dodge Caravan, asset number 21895. This was EMS, a van that they got rid of. Sheriff was so kind to put it on Gov Deals for us and got $1,300 for the van. And he also, a resolution authorizing the sale of the county-owned property, a 2000 Dodge Dakota, asset number 21570. He got $1,585 for the Dodge Dakota on Gov Deals as well. And this is at no cost to us. The buyer pays all fees, so it's just the sheriff's time that he's willing to do for us to put these vehicles on. We're looking to put a couple of the maintenance old one on too, so he's been helping us out with that. I have a resolution authorizing the contract service agreement with Dennis S. Smith, DBA, SS Painting and Handyman for work to be performed at the Ag Services Building. This is the painting that will be done in the FSA and the NCRS area that they will be paying for in their lease. We do the contract, we get it paid, and they will be reimbursing with an interest rate. So, I have a resolution authorizing a contract service agreement with GEOPHYTA.
Geophyta.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. For the Water Pollution Control Fund, HSTS program, soil evaluation, and system design. I do have one other one. I'll let you vote on those first. So
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the, as amended there.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the above? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes. Okay, you have one more?
Okay, I have a request out from Pet Schaefer. Good Shepherd Home is looking to, they must be doing a project and, okay, we're the original leasers on the 2003 obligation. In 2008, they asked for an additional amount because of some expanding they were doing. Now they're looking to do it again through Fostoria, and what they need from us is a termination of the agreement of the lease and master lease purchase and sublease agreement. And they were also, which I don't have a problem with that one, I have an email into John Larson and Alex from Pet Schaefer to make sure that it's okay. They're not doing the, just because we were on the original bonding, when they do the 2013 agreement of lease, we have to sign it as the consenter because we were the issuer of the 2003 bonds, if that makes any sense.
I would just make sure John Larson says it's okay.
Yeah.
And then that shouldn't be.
Because I just got it yesterday and he was hoping to get it by Friday, so I wanted to at least
Yeah.
bring it up. The
They're
determination, I mean, that's gonna get us out of it, but,
Their slowness of planning shouldn't constitute an emergency on our
Right.
part. We need to run it through our legal counsel to make sure it's right before
Okay.
we sign something that.
right. Right. But I at least wanted to bring it up, and
And I don't want to speak for the board.
No, I would agree.
so I got this at 7 o'clock last night and a voicemail last night. I just happened to still be here before we went to the
Oh, the
meeting.
EMS.
So I sent it to Alex and John first thing this morning, and
Hopefully we'll have it Tuesday for him.
yeah. So,
Okay, thank you. Anything
Yep.
else for new business?
nope.
Nicole? Mr. Holman? Tom?
We got one new.
One new, okay.
One new. We received in the mail, and I should have said something to Julie, I was gonna bring it up today, but the county received honoring Seneca County for remarkable attainment, a, what do you call this, a proclamation, I guess, or just a
They usually call them commendations in the General Assembly.
And this is, I'm just gonna read the first short 2 paragraphs. On behalf of the members of the Senate of the 130th General Assembly of Ohio, pleased to commend Seneca County on being presented with the Ohio Auditor of State Award. Recognized for its exceptional annual financial report, Seneca County is deserving of high praise for its outstanding record-keeping and financial reporting. This distinction is a justifiable source of pride and an excellent reflection not only on the county itself, but also on its astute management, on its hardworking staff, and on the entire community. And it just goes on that over the years that we have done well, and that's from Senator Keith Faber and Senator Dave Burke.
Great,
So
thank you.
I thought duly deserved some.
Well, it was the commissioners that made it
I
happen.
think it's the auditor's office that, the auditor's office that really earns those marks, but,
All right.
you know.
I think we ought to give that to Julie so she can,
Yes, I did show her that came our way, so. I didn't tell her I was gonna read it here.
she may want to pin that in her office there.
That's right.
Post it or.
Any public comment today? All right, thank you all for coming. Is there a motion to adjourn? Oh,
Yes.
you have something else?
It's really old business, but I just wanted to note that I know we were all there last night, but EMS has been doing the recognitions, and that has, I think, just been really nice. It's
Yeah.
been a nice touch. I think they really appreciate it. I think it's been a great opportunity to have the local governments, the township trustees and our village councils be part of that with it, and they've all been able to reflect their appreciation to those volunteers, and I just wanted to note that. We got a couple more to do. We had one postponed because of the storm, but that's been going well. It's been a nice touch.
And some of the volunteers were even emotional about the recognition, so
Yeah.
I think that's very good.
I think they're talking about rescheduling the one in Bloomville to
Bloomville.
the 6th.
Six.
It's a Friday. He's gonna get back with me on the time. He said it's probably gonna be the same time, but he was looking at the 6th. I think it's
Is it
gonna be.
7 or
Hopefully they'll work
7:30?
for one of each, because I will not be able to be at that
We'll
one.
be there early.
Yeah. They always start
They
these
say
things
7, go at
early.
6:30.
That's right.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn this?
So moved.
Second it.
Okay, we're adjourned at 10:40.